Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. 5 things on my mind this week, and it's been a pretty heavy week, right? Let's start off with the first thing on my mind, which is even why I'm in the car. I just came from fueling my car, and this fuel hike is insane, isn't it? I don't know by the time this comes out whether this will be outdated. It's even feared that most petrol stations will run out of stock if the strike persists. So there's a fuel hike and an ongoing strike by distributors, etc. Kenyans are making a mad rush for fuel, and corruption and the standoff are to blame, but who's suffering? You know what I mean? And I just feel like this time it's probably worse than it's been in the past. And so hopefully the situation will simmer down and people will be able to have access. Did you see the queues when you were trying to get fuel? I don't want to get too much into the politics of it, but I just feel like there's all these things that make life very inconvenient for Kenyans, and it's unfair. I know you guys have also felt the pinch. A lot of you have been telling me, Poleni, let's just really hope that there is a solution really soon, and that in the future we don't have to face this kind of madness because of standoffs and corruption and all these issues which are manageable and able to be dealt with. The second thing on my mind while I'm still in the car before I head out and continue with my day is the death of Sharon. You know, most of you have probably seen it in the news. She's a university student whose body was found dumped in a forest. It's alleged that she was involved with a high-powered politician. She was 7 months pregnant. But here's the tragedy around it all, and I even tweeted about it. One, her death was gruesome. Her death was really gruesome. There's a whole discussion about chicks need to know not to look for sponsors, etc. Sawa, that's a discussion that we can have. But you're lambasting a dead girl? Really? I could not believe that people were tweeting things like this should teach others. Let that be a separate discussion. Let's talk about the fact that a family has lost their daughter and their unborn grandchild. Let's talk about the fact that she had the rest of her life ahead of her. Did she make a mistake? It's between her and God. But to then judge someone, even in death, I don't know what's become of us. Yes, there is a discussion to be had about the cost of trying to chase the high life. I don't think it should be intertwined too much with a gruesome death that was not necessary. No matter what reasons led to her death, she did not deserve to die. This young woman did not deserve to die. I really hope the culprits are brought to book, because there always seem to be these mysterious deaths and then they just kind of fizzle out of the Kenyan news, and then before you know it, the case it's forgotten. But the families don't forget and the friends don't forget, and my heart goes out to her friends and family, irrespective of what happened or what the situation was. She didn't deserve to die, and neither did her unborn child. So the third thing that's been on my mind, I have to talk a bit softly because Huru is sleeping. I'm just gonna find somewhere to sit in the living room. Right, I'm so exhausted. I'd put Huru to sleep and then dashed out for a quick errand, and I've come back and he's still sleeping. I had mentioned very briefly in my last vlog that I wasn't keen on doing a baby shower or maternity shoot. It's been a very interesting year for me. I feel like I've grown in a lot of ways, and that's come with a lot of reflection and kind of wanting to isolate. I don't know if you guys can relate, but there's some seasons where you just want to isolate. I've had a lot of time to think about the people I surround myself with and the energy I surround myself with, and through that process I just wanted to, yes, share publicly my journey, but privately not really wanting to go all out. And it's funny because I started the year, once I found out I was pregnant, wanting a huge baby shower, and as my pregnancy began to draw to an end, I just didn't feel the need to want that kind of shower, and I didn't want one at all. But my sister and in-law just convinced me, like, okay, why don't we host something for you as a family? And I thought, yeah, that's a great idea. So it was a family-only baby shower. It had my cousins, my in-laws, my siblings, and it was so amazing being surrounded by people who I've known all my life, or over the last 5 years. I mean, powerful women of prayer, women of who I can relate to, and I'm just so happy that that's how it turned out. In my season of isolation and trying to redefine who my circle is, I found that I've had a strong circle all along. And maybe that's something you guys can take a look at. Sometimes it's the people who've been with you all along. Sometimes it's a new phase of people. You then really go through these seasons and it kind of makes you realize who is meant to be in your circle, who isn't. Maternity shoot was the same. I didn't really want to do anything out there. I just was gonna do a couple of pics on my phone. I'm so glad Brian Babu convinced me otherwise. He was like, nope, you have to do this. You'll feel so much better. And I'm glad I listened to him. I'm glad I ran into Emmanuel Jambo, who was like, I would love to do it for you, and Wakesho, and I loved the shoot. And you guys, your response on the shoot and your feedback has been so amazing, so thank you. I'm so happy I did both things. Sometimes you have your own plans and God has other plans for you, so that's what that has taught me. So that's the other thing that's been on my mind. The fourth thing that's been on my mind, oh, by the way, these earrings and this neck piece are courtesy of Brian Babu, so thank you for coming through. I love how it looks. You will probably see this in my What's in My Bag Part 2 shoot, which will come out very soon. So the fourth thing on my mind is around Serena Williams, Colin Kaepernick, Nike, and race. Let's start with Serena Williams, one of my favorite women in the world, powerhouse, self-made, nurtured by the dad and alongside her sister Venus, one of the greatest tennis players in the history of the world, who has constantly had her hair picked apart, her body, her clothes, because in the sport she's in, tennis, she's really a minority. Most of the players are Caucasian. And then recently she wore a bodysuit and had the French Tennis Federation champion saying, you know, we need to take this game more seriously, that won't happen again. And the backlash that caused, I'm so happy it did, because many years ago there's a white female tennis player who wore a bodysuit and nothing was said about it. I just hate the blatant racism. And she's had her image picked apart for so long, and yet she's one of the greatest athletes of our time. And so it's frustrating to constantly see that play out, but I'm glad that people are now speaking out. Some of her, fellow players are saying this is ridiculous, let her be. And she needed that bodysuit actually for a blood clotting issue, I believe that she had. So it was some of it was for medical reasons. Colin Kaepernick is an NFL player who in 2016 knelt during the national anthem to protest police brutality in the US. It was a tasteful gesture in the sense that it was a peaceful protest, right? Nike then came out with this ad the other day, and so powerful, and Colin Kaepernick has been chosen to be one of the faces of the ad. And again, this whole storm blew up online. People were burning their Nikes, whatever. Others were buying more shoes. And basically, I love the line that believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. His courage, his mind, the ability to speak out are probably just make him for me one of the most admirable people around. So that's been on my mind, because we have these two great athletes who continue to break barriers because of their race and because of them standing up, especially in Colin Kaepernick's case, against issues, social injustice. They get lambasted for it. We need to remember what's important, and what's important is speaking out where others can't, even though that can cost you sometimes. So that's been on my mind. Fifth and final thing on my mind is going back to Better for Kenya, this time headed towards Goalkeepers. Now guys, Goalkeepers is this event that's brainchild of Bill and Melinda Gates and the Gates Foundation. They acknowledge people around the world who are making stride towards the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. I went in 2017. It's mind-blowing because first of all, it brings this global community of, thought leaders and NGO champions and celebrities, and it honors them, but we also get to hear stories that should be highlighted in the news. In a nutshell, two of our Better for Kenya influencers, Adele Onyango and King Kaka, are going to be attending this year. Kaka is going to be speaking, get this, alongside Ed Sheeran, Melinda Gates, and Bill Gates. Lanes, people, lanes. They are the voices of our generation, right? I mean, Adele is so passionate about women's rights issue, Kaka as well, human rights issues, even issues that affect women through his sanitary pad bank. And so that's been on my mind because their date for going is pretty close, and I'm just excited for what they're going to experience, who they're going to interact with, and the kind of impact that's going to be felt. So that's been on my mind. Better for Kenya is the hashtag to follow, and I just hope that we can celebrate this journey with them. So those are the 5 things on my mind. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch up with you again very soon. Okay, bye.